DC20 is the next evolution in fantasy tabletop roleplay games. Hey there, I'm the Dungeon Coach, creator of DC20, and if you love D20 based games, but you're looking for a fresh but familiar take on the games that you're used to playing right now, but with more innovative and intuitive rules, open character creation, endless customization, dynamic team-based gameplay, epic storytelling, then DC20 is for you. In fact, Duke from One Shot Quester said that DC20 is the perfect love child between 5th edition and Pathfinder, which makes sense because I played 5th edition for years. I loved the game. I made a career out of homebrewing 5th edition, but now I am branching off entirely and forging my own path, forging a new path of DC20. I wanted to truly think outside the box and evolve the game and rethink all the different rules and how it could be possibly done better. In fact, Will from D&D Shorts said this:
I think DC20 by the Dungeon Coach feels much more like taking D&D to the next level.
I've been creating DC20 for years, and when I first set out to make the game, my original intent was for it to be more like 5th edition, but when I took a big step back to rethink the rules, think of how could things be done better, what's ways to empower players, empower game masters, give them more creative, dynamic options and choices. Rule by rule, DC20 evolved into a truly standalone game. So what makes DC20 so different? It's all about giving players and game masters what I call dynamic agency. Here's what I mean. First, the action economy in DC20 is action points. Every round of combat, you have 4 action points, and these points give you flexibility across your turn to be able to make choices with. These can be used very simply and user-friendly for brand new players in the form of taking an attack, moving, taking the dodge action, casting a spell, helping an ally, hiding. But you can also spend these points to enhance the things that you're already doing. You can spend 1 action point to make an attack and spend additional action points to empower it. Marshals can perform maneuvers to add extra effects onto their swings or extra damage. Spellcasters can enhance their cantrips with action points to be able to add extra effects, longer range, and things to their spells. And my favorite part is you can actually spend some of these action points off of your turn if you have certain reactions that trigger based on things that enemies do. An ally next to you gets attacked, you can spend an action point to protect them. An enemy spellcaster casts a spell, you can initiate a spell duel to collide your magics midair. Monks catch projectiles, rogues dodge, and bards inspire. All as potential reactions you can take off your turn besides just opportunity attacks, and it really keeps players engaged. So now you might see what I'm talking about with dynamic agency, where you actually have choice and control over the things you do when you customize your turn. And it gets better because everybody has action points, but depending on if you're a spellcaster or a marshal, you might get mana points or stamina points. These are different resource pools for each type of class that lets them do different things. Spellcasters have a pool of mana points instead of clunky spell slots, and you can spend this mana to cast spells. But it gets better because you can spend more mana to pour them into spells, including cantrips. You can take little cantrips, pour more mana into them, and add more effects. Shoot off additional missiles, increase the AoE size of what you're doing, or mind control a second creature. It also feels more alive because you always roll in DC20 to be able to cast your spells and see how big that damage is, see how big that heal is based on your spell check. Then for marshals in DC20, they're not forgotten about. They actually get stamina points, which is a dynamic energy system that works completely different than mana. It's a very small pool that you gain and lose during combat, and each class gains and spends stamina differently based on what they do. Rogues gain stamina based on hitting a creature that has a condition on them, while barbarians gain stamina from hitting things really hard or getting hit really hard. And then the customization continues in character creation. In DC20, there's only 4 attributes: might, agility, intelligence, and charisma. And you can freely choose which one of those stats is your highest stat for every single class without absolutely nerfing yourself. Each of the stats have different cool things that they each can do, but you are not forced into choosing things like a barbarian having to have might or a wizard having to have intelligence. You can create the characters that you've always wanted with an intelligence-based fighter who's a mastermind of the battlefield, an agility-based bard that uses quick dance moves to cast their spells. The character customization isn't just for classes too, it also affects ancestries. Every ancestry in the game comes with a list of default traits and a list of expanded traits. If you want to keep it simple, you can just take the default traits, make your character, call it a day. Or you can look at those and you have 5 points worth of ancestry traits to be able to spend. And if you want to take those default traits and trade some of them in for some of the expanded traits that you like, you can really just pick your own buffet style of ancestry traits and make your own. And you can take this customization one step farther. You can mix and match ancestries by picking one ancestry for each of your parents, looking at the entire list of traits for both of them, picking 5 points worth of traits, and creating your custom own ancestry. You want to combine the traits of an angel born and an elf and create some sort of heavenly high elf? Go for it. You want to create a small little kobold-like character? Take a halfling and a dragonborn, combine them together. Like I said, endless customization. So that's just combat and character creation. What about all the other pillars of the game? Social, exploration. DC20 levels up your game here too. Social systems like disposition combine role play and dice rolls together as one. Yes, you can make checks against the NPC and see how high you roll and see if you can kind of convince them of things. But it also takes into effect what you say, because different NPCs will have triggers that you can actually get through to based on the role play you say and making checks, combining the two together. So now you're rewarded for either creative thinking or high dice rolls, or both. And there's reputation systems with both NPCs and factions, and you can combine social and combat together with a morale system. Break enemies' morale to make them run away or join your side, and you yourself also can run away. And there's exploration systems to make those parts of the game fun as well. Instead of just being annoyed by travel or having to fast travel, you have actual systems that you can get from point A to point B in fun ways. Have some cool risk and reward before you set up camp. Have some fun role-play moments. And engage with a downtime system that actually progresses characters in new ways you might never have done before. And the biggest thing across the entire game is that rolling high actually matters. Whenever you attack an enemy in DC20, you deal additional damage for every 5 points that you beat their defense by. So now it's not just about if you hit or not, it's about how hard you hit. So when you roll high, you deal more damage. And if you're looking for clues and there's a certain DC, if you beat that DC by 5, you might gain more clues. And there's a skill challenge system across all 3 pillars in DC20, where if you succeed on a check, you gain a success point. And if you beat it by 5, you get 2 success points. 3, 4, 5. So when you and your friends roll high, it actually matters. There's teamwork mechanics to be able to help each other roll high and truly play together as a team. So if you got excited by any of the things that I said and you want to have more fun with your friends and tell some epic stories in this heroic fantasy tabletop roleplay game, check out DC20 down below. The whole Kickstarter's there. So check out all the different rewards. There's a ton of PDFs on there, a ton of different stretch goals that unlock free PDFs, additional classes, additional ancestries, lots of different stuff coming. We even got cool wooden action point trackers that we custom made just for this Kickstarter to track your action points across your turn. Metal purple dragon dice. Whew, it's all so crazy. And I want to thank you to this community who's gotten behind this game to be able to get it to this point and us be able to launch the Kickstarter. So thank you for that. I've been blown away by the support and I can't wait to see what happens to this Kickstarter and the future of DC20. So now let's tell some epic outside of the box stories together. Peace.